All right, time to go wild.
Hog wild. Whoops.
Try saying, play 93.9 FM.
Well then, shall we get back to work? Brilliant. Fire! First move is ours. Fire!
No holding back! Let's give it our all!
Mothman! Black Ooze! Slime! Black Ooze! Slime! Hi, Pixie! You're mine! Come! Legion! Take this!
Let me in like those weaknesses! Come on, Joker! One chest! Here they come! Powerful! Use the flash attack! Give them divine punch! Right, I'll be right back! Incoming attack! Brace yourselves! No holding back! Just frozen in fear! Can't act like this! I'll give it my all! Maximum power! I'll give it my all! Everyone stay focused! Battle's almost won! Let's finish! I'll give it my all! Maximum power! Let me get that! Roger! Let's steal this now! You're back in! Run down! More to go! The enemy's dizzy! This is your chance! Start wheeling!
Fire!
Let's go!
I appreciate it. Ravage that!
Stronger than us, and Turf won't work on it! Don't be intimidated!
Ravage that! Please allow me. Seems I've gained new power.
Good job, everyone! Okay, let's keep it moving.
I should write something.
I see a shadow.
There's something peculiar over there.
Steady.
I shall expose you.
Now!
Wide open.
Don't let your guard down.
I am God. Switching up. do it. Anahamaki, Mitra! Anahamaki, Mitra! Anahamaki, Mitra!
Get a move on.
Shisa!
Out of my sight for your
Mothman! Lacus! Wheeler! Slime! Hypixie! Legion!
You're mine.
Don't let up!
Heck.
Oh, now my headphones are engaged.
Easy as 1, 2,
Oh,
3.
it's freaking
Keep
loud.
up the pace, shall we?
Focus.
I sure hope this is useful.
I can see it.
Looks like there aren't any shadows here.
Focus.
Cute. Oh, I gotta. Ooh.
Mitra! Come, Shisa!
Lame.
Mothman!
What's that? I can see it.
Something here's calling for you. There it is. The prison key.
It's our second one.
Brilliant. First move is ours.
Time to rack up some damage. Good thinking, Joker.
Blacko! Leland! Slime! High Pig! Legion! High Pixie! Legion!
Stick it tight and decide what's right. Can't you see the light? Them to stop dancing around the mirror in circles, crying one more thing.
That's why you're the leader.
Good morning. This one's gonna be rough. That combo strike was devastating. Playing more where that came from. I'll give it my all.
Finally, you let up. Finish him off.
Come on, pair of makeup.
Good. Bingo. That's still just now? Perfection.
What?
What if we
Not yet.
All right, coming attack. Brace yourself. You can handle this.
Persona!
Free from this fear, being
Amahamaki! Mitra!
please take an umbrella.
Shisa! Mothman! Blackoos! Mothman! Blackoos! Mothman! Let's go. You're mine.
Dizzy, this is your chance. Start wailing on us.
Take it. Have them now. It's over.
Just like that. That wasn't much of a struggle. Let's keep chugging along.
Focus.
Shadow ahead.
We've got 'em right where we want.
Taking them by surprise.
Blackoos! Mothman! Let's go.
Sure we can.
Now!
Too cool! Just a few more to go. Let's show them what we can do.
Come! Persona! Let's go. Come! You're mine.
Its weakness is fire. Turn him to its grip.
Here I thought they'd put up a fight.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
Oh, this guy. Flash bomb. Assault dive. Let's delete that. still. Oh man, that's so lame. So I'll use this for that to get mana back, and then I will use Legion for oh yeah, to get life back. Concentrate to do blow up.
Careful, there's a shadow lurking around.
I'll reveal your true form.
You're panicking!
Persona! Let's
Push
go!
on through! The enemy's dizzy! This is your chance! Start wailing on him!
Persona! Rabbit Step! Strike!
Let us end this.
That was over before it started. I should have taken a nap. Be careful, we're trapped in.
That's a lot of moths.
Please, electricity's out of the question. Remember that.
Go ahead.
Wait! I'll give it my all. Maximum power. Incoming attack. Brace yourself. I'll give it my all. Never kick. I'll give it my all. No, don't be dizzy. You see? Get yourself brace yourself. Yes, you are. Yes, people. Take this. Get along with guts. Never kick. Let me get out. Roger. Joker, your help is bad. This now. Out of my way.
Oh, there's a counter.
Right now.
Huh.
This is our power. They felt that. They're pitiful. Give them a jerk.
Get fucking wrecked.
It's a shadow. Careful. Just to make sure.
Wait a
Everyone ready and alert. We need to be prepared for whatever comes our way. This is it. It's yours.
Sure. Let's go. Come. Fire.
I won't pull back. Hold up. Let's go.
You're mine. Persona. High pick slime. Jack Leland. Lactimok Shisa. Come. Take this.
Still connected. I'm sensing less enemies. Let's finish this. The enemy's dizzy. This is your chance. Start wailing on him. Was that it? Huh, that was fast.
I can see
You
it.
should apply the same effort in the next battle.
No, less effort.
I should write something.
Hey, there's a treasure chest. Maybe we should peek inside. This may be relevant to my interests. Looks like we can descend from here, although there are shadows in the way. It's a steep slope.
Hell yeah, bro.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Yeah, fuck you. Well, that was easy. What the hell?
Okay.
That seems strong. I'm not sensing any shadows. We're safe here.
What's that?
All right, we got it.
Oh, this damn thing.
All right, it's all yours. We'll protect. The enemy's burning. Wind or nuke should do it. Sly attack is here. Let's do something else. Showtime! Alive, team!
That one to me. Showtime. She's up. Here.
Mind blowing as always, Joker. Amazing, Joker. This is really something. We're weaker than this. Should be an easy win as long as we're
She's up. Now.
pretty tough. Nothing I can't handle. Hey, big attack incoming! Brace yourself! Critical hit! Too cool, children! Oh, how cool! Not much longer now!
Gravity.
Watch out! Hope he's in trouble!
You're mine.
Going, children!
Look out. I'll do it.
Oh, fuck yeah. I won. I won. Won. I won. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
snowstorm? There are shadows moving out here too. It will be okay. There's another heater nearby. Maybe you should get rid of the snowstorm first.
You're mine. Now.
I'll fight my way through.
You might want to piece yourself.
Persona! Let's go. Mothman, Shisa, Mitra, Araha, Legion, Hypic, Slum, Jack for Leland. Blacker, Moth, Shisa, Mitra, Araha, Legion, Hypic, Legion.
Easy victory ahead.
Araha, Mitra, Shisa.
Shisa.
It's over.
I got you back. Try throwing it in someone. They're up to something. Trying to weaken our stats, no doubt. Hard enough. Fear what's greater nuclear attack. Great technique, Joker. The end is almost in sight. Only a few enemies left. Blizzard has stopped.
All that's left, mopping up the rest. You're mine.
Weak to current. Your attack is like that.
This thing.
Your defense to die.
It's over.
Never once in your motherfucking miserable life. Captured in time.
We've eliminated all obstacles. Let us proceed to...
All right, let's take what we came for. Yo, I might have found something.
No, dipshit, I found it.
Yay, we got a core! Wasn't she telling off that? I wonder if it's related to how she wanted to make some.
Well, I certainly understand her passion. Sacrifice...
At any rate. Look! The ice wall is gone, just as we thought.
You thief! Return what you stole at once.
No.
You have
Ooh.
no idea what kind of torture awaits us if the monarch finds out.
Sorry to hear that, but there's no turning back.
Let's go. Fire! Fire!
I'm not done. Joker got in a follow-up attack. Got it. Ooh. That tilts. Panther, reach out, Panther! You've got the moment! That one will be tough. Everyone stay focused. Fully charged. Give it to me. Get ready! An oncoming attack! Brace yourself! Go! Enough! I'm going too! Go, go,
Persona! Get him! Yeah. Persona!
Hold busy! You can't see your surroundings!
Fire!
This is your chance! It's showtime!
Showtime! Shisa! Here!
Go! Pretty good! Good thinking, Joker! Sophie's stamina is running low. She needs to recharge. Yes!
I'll do it.
Come! Persona! Take
The
this!
enemy's dizzy. This is your chance. Start wheeling on it. It's powerful and strong against psychokinesis. Keep that in mind. Joker's shocked. His movement will be slowed till it clears up.
Let's go! Mothman! Black Leela! Jack! Swan! High Big Legion! Persona! Persona! Come! Me. Let's go! You're mine!
Still connected.
Come! Ravage
You're
them!
doing great. Hang in there. So grateful. Thank you, Oracle. That one looks rough.
Persona! Arahamaki! Mitra! She's Mitra!
I'll use this.
Persona! With this! Come! His power!
I'm seeing.
Persona! Shisa! Take this! Let's go! Persona! You're mine! Whoa, that was sweet! Come! Mitra! Ara! Legion! Ravage them! You're mine! Let's go! Persona! You're mine!
Make sure Panther's okay. Panther had to fall back. He needs more Joker's down. This is bad. Wasn't real strong. On your back. Keep it up.
You can thank me later.
One more! Mitra! Shisa! Chop! Take that!
Bingo! That skill just now? Perfection!
Well done! Huh?
Horse on the way! I'm always in support. You guys have burned a lot of stamina. Don't overdo it, okay?
Fire! I'm going too!
Don't put down a strong enemy! I want to see more of that! I can't fight like this.
Your go! Sure.
That's right, Haru. Get out of here.
It's a shadow.
Fire!
Stay on your guard.
Fire!
You're all going down.
Well, done! It's over. Take this!
It's good to play that. Let's wrap this up quick.
You're mine! Take this!
Throw your last leg. Don't let up.
Focus. I can see it.
I'd call that an easy win.
Good stuff, guys. Keep it coming.
Oh, look! The ice wall disappeared. We can move on to the next prison keep now. Let's go.
What's that? I can see it. It's a shadow. Better be careful.
Okay. This
Show
is
me
our
your
chance.
true self.
This is our chance.
Let's go.
Wipe them out.
Ravage them! You're gonna run right through them!
This is your chance. Start wailing on him.
Take
The
this!
battle's almost won. Let's finish this.
Not much of a challenge, were they?
Oh, nice one. Keep it up. No shadows.
What's that?
At least, not right up ahead. Hey, what do you think that is?
Just making a real quick grilled cheese. Gotta pause this broadcast. It's now paused.
Work to undo that experience. So I want you to imagine in your mind that when you were brought into this world, you were essentially a widely connected web of connections that was really poor at doing any one thing. And that through your experience, what you were exposed to by your parents or other caretakers, through your social interactions, through your thoughts, through the languages that you learned, through the places you traveled or didn't travel, your nervous system became customized to your unique experience. Now, that's true for certain parts of your brain that are involved in what we call representations of the outside world. A lot of your brain is designed to represent the visual world, or represent the auditory world, or represent the gallery of smells that are possible in the world. However, there are aspects of your nervous system that were designed not to be plastic. They were wired so that plasticity or changes in those circuits is very unlikely. Those circuits include things like the ones that control your heartbeat, the ones that control your breathing, the ones that control your digestion. And thank goodness that those circuits were set up that way, because you want those circuits to be extremely reliable. You never want to have to think about whether or not your heart will beat, or whether or not you will continue breathing, or whether or not you'll be able to digest your food. So many nervous system features like digestion and breathing and heart rate are hard to change. Other aspects of our nervous system are actually quite easy to change. And one of the great gifts of childhood, adolescence, and young adulthood is that we can learn through almost passive experience. We don't have to focus that hard in order to learn new things. In fact, children go from being able to speak no language whatsoever to being able to speak many, many words and comprise sentences, including words they've never heard before, which is remarkable. It means that the portions of the brain involved in speech and language are actually primed to learn and create new combinations. What this tells us is that the young brain is a plasticity machine. But then right about age 25, plus or minus a year or two, everything changes. After age 25 or so, in order to get changes in our nervous system, we have to engage in a completely different set of processes in order to get those changes to occur, and for them, more importantly, to stick around. And this is something that I think is vastly overlooked in the popular culture discussion about neuroplasticity. People always talk about fire together, wire together. Fire together, wire together is true. It is the statement of my colleague at Stanford, Carla Schatz, and it's an absolute truth about the way that the nervous system wires up early in development. But fire together, wire together doesn't apply in the same way after age 25. And so we have these little memes and these little quotes that, circulate on the internet, like fire together, wire together, or there's a famous quote from the greatest neurobiologist of all time, Ramon Cajal. I think it goes something like, should somebody wish to change their nervous system, they could be the sculptor of their nervous system in any way they want, something like that. And that sounds great. I mean, who wouldn't want to change their nervous system any way they want? But what's lost in those statements is how to actually accomplish that. And we're going to cover that today. But please understand that early in development, your nervous system is connected very broadly in ways that make it very hard to do anything well. From birth until about age 25, those connections get refined, mainly through the removal of connections that don't serve us, and the incredible strengthening of connections that relate to either powerful experiences or that allow us to do things like walk and talk and do math, etc. And then after age 25, if we want to change those connections, those superhighways of connectivity, we have to engage in some very specific processes. And those processes, as we'll soon learn, are gated, meaning you can't just decide to change your brain. You actually have to go through a series of steps to change your internal state in ways that will allow you to change your brain. I just want to acknowledge that Costello is snoring particularly loud today. Some of you seem very keen at picking up on his snoring. Others of you can't hear his snoring. It's very low rumbling sound, and whether or not you can or you can't probably relates to the sensitivity of your hearing. We're actually going to talk about perfect pitch today and range of auditory detection. And so if you can hear Costello's snoring, enjoy. If you can't, enjoy. I want to talk about how the nervous system changes. What are these changes? Many of us have been captivated by the stories in the popular press about the addition of new neurons. This idea, if you go running or you exercise, your brain actually makes new neurons. Well, I'm going to give you the bad news first, which is that after puberty, so after about age 14 or 15, the human brain and nervous system adds very few, if any, new neurons. The idea that new neurons could be added to the brain is one that has a rich history in experimental science. It's clear that in rodents and in some non-human primates, new neurons, a process called neurogenesis, can occur in areas of the brain such as the olfactory bulb, which is of course involved in smell, as well as a region of our hippocampus, a center of the brain involved in memory, called the dentate gyrus of the hippocampus. And there is strong evidence that new neurons can be added to those structures throughout the lifespan. In humans, the evidence is a little bit more controversial. It's clear that we can add new neurons to our olfactory bulb. In fact, if any of you have ever had the unfortunate experience of being hit on the head too hard, the wires, called axons, from those olfactory neurons that live in your nose can get sheared off because they have to pass through a bony plate called the cribriform plate. And the cribriform plate can shear those axons, and people can become what's called anosmic. They won't be able to smell. But over time, those neurons, unlike most all central nervous system neurons, can grow those connections back and even reestablish new neurons being added to the olfactory bulb. They come from elsewhere deep in the brain, and they migrate through a pathway called the rostral migratory stream. You can Google these words and look up some of the descriptions of this if you'd like to learn more. So, indeed, there's some evidence that the neurons responsible for smell can be replaced throughout the lifespan. Certainly in very young individuals from birth till about age 15 or so. Whether or not there are new neurons added to the hippocampus, the memory center of the human brain, isn't clear. Many years ago, Rusty Gage's lab at the Salk Institute did a really important study looking at terminally ill cancer patients and injecting them with a label, a dye that is incorporated only into new neurons. And after these patients died, their brains were harvested, brains were looked at, and there were new neurons there. There was evidence for new neurons. Those results, I think, stand over time, but what was not really discussed in the popular press discussion around those papers was that it was very few cells that were being added. And a number of papers have come along over the years, mainly from labs at UCSF, although from others as well, showing that if there are new neurons added to the adult brain, it's an infinitesimally small number of new neurons. So that's the depressing part. We don't get new neurons. After we're born, we pretty much have the neurons that we're going to use our entire life. And yes, as we get older and we start to lose certain functions in our brain, we lose neurons. But all is not lost, so to speak, because there are other ways in which neural circuits can create new connections and add new functions, including new memory, new abilities, and new cognitive functions. And those are mainly through the process of making certain connections, which of course are those things we call synapses, between neurons, making those connections stronger so they're more reliable, they're more likely to engage, as well as removing connections. And the removal of connections is vital to, say, moving through a grieving process or removing the emotional load of a traumatic experience. So even though we can't add new neurons throughout our lifespan, at least not in very great numbers, it's clear that we can change our nervous system, that the nervous system is available for change, that if we create the right set of circumstances in our brain, chemical circumstances, and if we create the right environmental circumstances around us, our nervous system will shift into a mode in which change isn't just possible, but it's probable. As I mentioned before, the hallmark of the child nervous system is change. It wants to change. The whole thing, everything from the chemicals that are sloshing around in there to the fact that there's a lot of space between the neurons. A lot of people don't know this, but early in development, there's a lot of space between the neurons, and so the neurons can literally move around and sample different connections very easily, removing some and keeping others. As we get older, the so-called extracellular space is actually filled up by things called extracellular matrix and glial cells. Glia means glue. Those cells are involved in a bunch of different processes, but they start to fill in all the space, kind of like pouring concrete between rocks. And when that happens, it becomes much harder to change the connections that are there. One of the ways in which we can all get plasticity at any stage throughout the lifespan is through deficits and impairments in what we call our sensory apparati, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our mouth. And there are some very dramatic and somewhat tragic examples of people, for instance, who have genetic mutations where they are born without a nose and without any olfactory structures in their brain, so they cannot smell. In that case, areas of the brain that normally would represent smell become overtaken by areas of the brain involved in other things like touch and hearing and sight. In individuals that are blind from birth, the so-called occipital cortex, the visual cortex in the back, becomes overtaken by hearing. The neurons there will start to respond to sounds as well as braille touch. And actually, there's one particularly tragic incident where a woman who was blind since birth, and because of neuroimaging studies, we knew her visual cortex was no longer visual. It was responsible for braille reading and for hearing. She had a stroke that actually took out most of the function of her visual cortex. So then she was blind, she couldn't braille read or hear. She did recover some aspect of function. Now, most people, they don't end up in that highly unfortunate situation. And what we know is that, for instance, blind people who use their visual cortex for braille reading and for hearing have much better auditory acuity and touch acuity, meaning they can sense things with their fingers and they can sense things with their hearing that typical sighted folks wouldn't be able to. In fact, you will find a much greater incidence of perfect pitch in people that are blind. And that tells us that the brain, and in particular this area we call the neocortex, which is the outer part, is really designed to be a map of our own individual experience. So these, what I call experiments of impairment or loss, where somebody is blind from birth or deaf from birth, or maybe has a limb development impairment where they have a stump instead of an entire limb with a functioning hand, their brain will represent the body plan that they have, not some other body plan. But the beauty of the situation is that the real estate up in the skull, that neocortex, the essence of it is to be a customized map of experience. Now, it is true, however, that if, let's say, I were to be blind when I'm 50, I'm 45 right now, I've always been sighted. If I was blind at 50, I'll probably have less opportunity to use my formerly visual cortex for things like braille reading and hearing, because my brain has changed. It's just not the same brain I had when I was a baby. So there's actually a principle of biology. Not many people know this. It's actually a principle of neurology, which is called the Kennard principle, which says if you're going to have a brain injury, you want to have it early in life. Of course, better to not have a brain injury. To have it, you want to have it early in life. And this is based on a tremendous number of experiments examining the amount of recovery and the rate of recovery in humans that had lesions to their brain either early in life or later in life. So the Kennard principle says better to have injuries early in life. Now, that's reassuring for the young folks. It's not so reassuring for the older folks. But there are aspects of neuroplasticity that have nothing to do with impairments. I mean, earlier I said we're all walking around with this map, this representation of the world around us, so we can see edges, we can see colors, except for folks that are colorblind, of course. And we also have a map of emotional experience. We have a map of whether or not certain people are trustworthy, certain people aren't trustworthy. A few years ago, I was at a course, and a woman came up to me and she said, you know, I wasn't teaching the course, I was in the course, and she said, I just have to tell you that every time you speak, it really stresses me out. And I said, well, I've heard that before, but do you want to be more specific? And she said, yeah, your tone of voice reminds me of somebody that I had a really terrible experience with. I said, well, okay, I can't change my voice, but I really appreciate that you acknowledge that, and it also will help explain why you seem to cringe every time I speak, which I hadn't noticed until then, but after that I did notice. She had a very immediate and kind of visceral response to my speech. Perhaps some of you are having that right now. But in any event, over the period of this 2-week course, she would come back every once in a while and say, you know what, I think just by telling you that your voice was really difficult for me to listen to, it's actually becoming more tolerable to me. And by the end, we actually became pretty good friends, and we're still in touch. And so what this says is that the recognition of something, whether or not that's an emotional thing or a desire to learn something else, is actually the first step in neuroplasticity. And that's because our nervous system has 2 broad sets of functions. Some of those functions are reflexive. Things like our breathing, our heart rate, are obvious ones. But other aspects are reflexive, like our ability to walk. If I get up out of this chair and walk out of the door, I don't think about each step that I'm taking, and that's because I learned how to walk during development. But when we decide that we're going to shift some sort of behavior or some reaction or some new piece of information that we want to learn, is something that we want to bring into our consciousness, that awareness is a remarkable thing because it cues the brain and the rest of the nervous system that when we engage in those reflexive actions going forward, that those reflexive actions are no longer fated to be reflexive. Now, if this sounds a little bit abstract, we're going to talk about protocols for how to do this. But the first step in neuroplasticity is recognizing that you want to change something. And you should immediately say, well, kids don't go into school and say, oh, I want to learn language or I want to learn social interactions. And that's the beauty of childhood. The whole brain has this switch flipped that is making change possible. But after that, we have to be deliberate. We have to know what it is exactly that we want to change. Or if we don't know exactly what it is that we want to change, we at least have to know that we want to change something about some specific experience. In this case, I believe that she came and told me that my voice was really awful for her to listen to, not to make me feel bad or for any other reason, except that she wanted it to not be the case. And she knew I wasn't going to stop talking, so she decided to call it to her consciousness and mine as well. So that's important. If you want to learn something or you want to change your nervous system in any way, whether or not it's because of some impairment or because of something that you want to acquire, a cognitive skill, a motor skill, an emotional skill, the first thing is recognizing what that thing is. And that often can be the hardest thing to identify. But the brain has these self-recognition mechanisms. And those self-recognition mechanisms are not vague, spiritual, or mystical, or even psychological concepts. They are neurochemicals. We're going to talk next about the neurochemicals that stamp down particular behaviors and thoughts and emotional patterns and tell the rest of the nervous system, this is something to pay attention to. Because this is in the direction of the change that I want to make. So I'll repeat that. There are specific chemicals that when we are consciously aware of a change we want to make, or even just that we want to make some change, chemicals are released in the brain that allow us the opportunity to make those changes. Now, there are specific protocols that science tells us we have to follow if we want those changes to occur. But that self-recognition is not a kind of murky concept. What it is it's our forebrain, in particular our prefrontal cortex, signaling the rest of our nervous system that something that we're about to do, hear, feel, or experience is worth paying attention to. So we'll pause there, and then I'm going to move forward. One of the biggest lies in the universe that seems quite prominent right now is that every experience you have changes your brain. People love to say this. They love to say, your brain is going to be different after this lecture, or your brain is going to be different after today's class than it was 2 days ago. And that's absolutely not true. The nervous system doesn't just change because you experience something, unless you're a very young child. The nervous system changes when certain neurochemicals are released and allow whatever neurons are active in the period in which those chemicals are swimming around to strengthen or weaken the connections of those neurons. Now, this is best illustrated through a little bit of scientific history. The whole basis of neuroplasticity is essentially ascribed to two individuals, although there were a lot more people that were involved in this work. Those two individuals go by the name David Hubel and Torsten Wiesel. David Hubel and Torsten Wiesel started off at Johns Hopkins, moved to Harvard Medical School. And in the 70s and 80s, they did a series of experiments recording electrical activity in the brain. They were in the visual cortex, meaning they put the electrodes in the visual cortex. And they were exploring how vision works and how the visual brain organizes all the features of the visual world to give us these incredible things we call visual perceptions. But Hubel was a physician, and he was very interested in what happens when, for instance, a child comes into the world and they have a cataract. The lens of their eye isn't clear, but it's opaque. Or when a kid has a lazy eye, or the eyes have what...
It's the best grilled cheese sandwich I've ever had, because it was with my soup that I made yesterday, too. And because I put mayo and butter in it.
The prison keep is there, but it's the same ice barrier we encountered at Adori Park. We
No,
can't get
pal.
through like this.
But the core is just ahead, right? What do we do?
How about up there? We may be able to drop in from above as long as we're willing to climb.
Nice thinking, Inari. Then let's head over there.
I gotta wash my hand.
Here I go!
Persona! Take this! Oh, it's done!
The enemy's dizzy. This is your chance. Start wailing on it.
Let's go! You're mine!
Nailed it! New goal! Just a few more to go. Let's show them what we can do. That was a quick one. Here's hoping the next one's just as easy.
What do we got?
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god.
I can see it.
Hey, don't you think we'd better... Good idea.
Let's go.
I love the feeling of wind in my hair. Hey, careful. Look ahead. I really like the motion. That's like coming here. Back with it? It's weak to nuclear attacks. Flash.
Mitra! Anahamaki! Mitra! Let's go!
I'm not seeing any shadows in the
Leela! Black! Leela! Jack! Slime! High Pixie! Legion! Mitra! Shisa!
As I suspected.
All right, let's... I should write something. Focus.
We got him right where we want him. Whenever you're ready.
Yours.
My turn! Come forth my other self! This should help! Your turn!
Sure. Take this! Hey, what you... Come! Grab it! Strike! That's why you're the Persona!
The enemy's dizzy! This is your chance! Start wheeling on!
Grab it, Sam! Come! Take this!
Weakness is fire! Turn him to a trick! Joker, your health is bad!
Let's go! Grab it, Sam! Now! Go ahead.
Leave it to me! Ah! Shadows ahead!
I'll get them.
It's showtime! Go for it, Joker!
Oh, God! Showtime! Shisa! Here! Take this! Fire! Strike! Be gone!
Be gone. Unlimited, unlimited motherfucking damage. I'm never ever gonna die. Wait, what is this shizzer weak to? Shizzer! Psy and death.
Alright, this is the third core. Is this... it's the Sapporo Central Mayor.
Down we go.
What's that?
Found a shadow. Don't get caught off guard. I will strike you down.
Mitra! Arahabachi! Legion! You're mine!
Gotta exploit those weaknesses!
With this!
That's the way,
Rabbit Step!
Joker, you're low on stamina. Be careful!
Another!
This is dead!
Be gone!
You won't know what hit you. Thanks for knowledge. Time for the curtain call.
Your kid, take it out!
Holy shit.
Go, Fox!
Sweet, we got him.
Let's keep chugging along.
Okay, I think we're clear. Let's move it.
Pretty low on stamina. Might want to head back before it's all gone.
Come!
Whoa, treasure chest.
Oh, cool. I'll take it. Oh, look!
Hamburger.
We can finally make some progress now.
Fire!
Brilliant. The first move is out.
Are we lucky or what?
Persona! Araha Mitra Shisa!
We got him now! Keep it up! Someone looks happy. Was that not a challenge?
I can see it.
Nice one. Keep it up.
I'll just add this.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. Awaken your new self. It seems that it can gain new power.
Oh, he's an attack man. 23. $31.
Performing a fusion. It seems that it can gain new power. choose which skill to inherit. Is this the Be born anew.
Aim.
You wish to strengthen it? How much power will you? This is what you've chosen.
Okay.
Kaja.
How much power will... This is what... The power of your mask has strengthened this persona. May luck be on your side.
Now then. Monarch's gonna punish.
Save that line for your monarch. Better yet, we'll tell her once we take...
Fire! Persona! You slow! You're mine!
You're on stone! It's showtime!
Fire!
Guys, it's weak to electricity! It's strong! This should have your guard up!
Araha Legion! Arahabaki Shisa! Arahabaki Legion! Persona! Take this!
That one's watch this! Keep it up! Way to follow up, Fox!
Not done yet.
It's strong and immune to physical attacks? That's broken!
It's up to you. I'll do it. Let's go. Arahabaki Shisa!
The enemy buffed their defense. You guys have burned a lot of stamina. Don't overdo it, okay?
Useless. You're mine.
Fair warning, this one's gonna be rough. You're on stone! It's showtime! Super! You're doing great!
Much better.
This is nice blocking good. Push the enemy good. Power it up! Leave that one to me. Doing great, Oracle!
Oh my god, wrong button.
Arahabaki Legion! You're mine. Let's go. Hi, Pixie! Legion, Arahabit, Shisa, Laku, Leland, Jack Frost, Neko Slime, Neko Shogun, Jack Neko Shogun, Slime, High Pixie, Legion, Arahabiti, Shisa, Lakus, Leland, Jack Frost, Leland, Lakus, Shisa, Arahabiti, Legion. Okay. There. Persona! Switch out.
This should help. Persona! Zoro, show your mind and its weakness. Your turn. Get up, Persona. The enemy's no pushover. Target its weakness to win. Keep it going. Don't forget it in follow-up attack.
Most impressive. See ya!
Oh, double red.
Way to move! Good one, Skull! Strong hands and use of physical attacks? That's broken! Beat up! This should help! Keep it going! Right on the money, Skull!
You can thank me later.
Skull took down a strong enemy! I want to see more of that!
Willy
Look at
wow.
my new skill!
Excellent. It seems the walls are no more.
Let's get our asses in there.
Yeah, let's not waste any more.
How do you do, everyone?
That voice. Mari-san?
Are you working hard to keep Sapporo clean? To make it a glistening, filth-free city? Well, it's time for our regular cleanup. Anyone who calls themselves a proud member of my staff must take initiative. That means no slacking off, and not a single mote of dust left on the premises. I want this place spotless. Turn Sapporo into a paradise as pure as snow.
Something's coming. Hide! Clean up! Clean up! Clean up! Here we go! There he is!
Oh, Maddie's missing this part.
What's up with these little freaks?
They're everywhere! They're here! From hell!
I can hardly believe my eyes.
Chanting about some cleanup routine. Maybe this is a periodic
Kill all of them. It'd be
At any
easy.
rate, it's too risky to charge in now. Let's head back to reality and see what we can do.
Wouldn't be risky. Hee-ho!
Hee-hoo! Hee-ho? Hee-ho!
Hee-ha, hee-ho.
We're infected! Alright, good bit. Now it's time to go.
Okay.
That was good.
somewhere today. This was whack.
A mess? It was Snowmageddon, I tell ya! Oh, the heave horror!
Based on the timing of the announcement, I'm sure it was temporary. They were only a cleanup crew.
Then let's call it a day. We'll use this opportunity to rest up and prep for tomorrow.
I'm gonna go get some dessert. Back to spring. No, I'm back to spring.
say we hit the bath and...
How many times must I repeat myself?
Wait, is that Mariko Hyodo?
I not tell you, our citizens suffer every time our personnel slacks off.
Forgive me.
What? You think I'll give you preferential treatment just because you're sick? Stand up straight. Get back to doing your job. Our citizens would be ashamed of this. Might keep in mind that you'll be working through the night to make up for lost time.
I'll do better.
Will that employee be all right?
Not if he keeps working in that condition. How can anyone survive like that?
Oh, it's you two.
Mari-san, how could you allow such a horrible thing?
Horrible. Oh, no. Haruchan, you misunderstand. I derive no pleasure in being so harsh. But it is a necessary measure to keep our city functioning. You see, we've been doing a campaign where our staff cleans up around the city for a month. Not only does it keep our staff in line, it enhances local safety as well. It's such an important job. Yet this incompetent bungler still has the nerve to show up late. How can I take pride in such poor behavior? All he seems to be capable of is making excuses.
A cleanup campaign, huh? Could this be related to the He Horde?
I won't say it another time. Quit groveling and get back to work.
But he doesn't look well at all.
The unfortunate thing is, Haruchan, everyone working for Sapporo City Hall is a worthless piece of garbage. I didn't set them straight. Who knows what kind of mischief they cook up? They might betray me in far more crucial matters.
Sounds to me like you're just making up bullshit to justify yourself.
This man needs medical attention. He's in no condition to work.
I'll help you. Come with me.
Sorry to trouble you.
Excuse me? What do you think you're doing?
Just stop this, Mari-san!
Haruchan?
The Mari-san I saw just now was nothing like the Mari-san I used to know. What happened to the Mari-san that treated everyone around you with kindness? You used to be surrounded by smiles. Everyone who met you was touched by your warmth and compassion. The way I remember you, Mari-san, you were like a sun that shined down on me. Why did you become like this? Why did you become so cold?
I can't stop now. For her sake. Excuse me. Be going now.
Mari-san! Don't pursue her, Haru. She's the monarch of the jail. In other words, our target. The only way we'll change her heart is in the jail. I know how you feel, but right now we need to get this man to the hospital. You're right. I have a list of hospitals nearby. Let's move.
Who does she think she is, treating a sick worker like dog shit?
Ryuji.
My bad.
It's strange how she's so nice to us, but so unforgiving with her staff. I don't know. I don't know what's making Mari-san act like this. She wasn't always like that. She used to be kind to everyone. What happened? I wonder if something horrible happened to make her the way she is.
The reason will become clear as we progress. Until then, we move forward.
Even though we had an unexpected obstacle, we managed to secure a route to the castle. Tomorrow, let's infiltrate that castle and head straight to Hyodo's cage. Good morning.
should write something.
Get to work. Get to work. Here's what I found. You're already working on this one. You're already working on this one. You're already working on this one. Are you double checking the request? Welcome. Thanks for discounting. How many would you like? You want thank you very much. How many would you like? You put it to the okay? You want thank you very much. You want thanks for your patronage. How many would you like? You want thanks for your patronage. How many would you like? You want thanks for your patronage. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Now then.
Over it.